Hi, my name is Nivedya Sohan and welcome to the brand new series of MediBiz TV talk show with the Masters. MediBiz TV started as the world's first global healthcare TV channel and is a sister concern of Aries Group of companies. Today at our corporate office studio, we are joined by two esteemed personalities as our guests for our talk show. Firstly, I would like to introduce Dr. Raza Siddiqui. He is the CEO of Arabian Healthcare Group, which is a premier group with RAC Hospital as its flagship brand. A truly global Indian citizen, Dr. Siddiqui has been instrumental in AHG's association with Fortis Escorts Heart Institution, Shalby Hospital, Tufts University, and other notable brands to bring expertise to Ras Al Khaimah. Dr. Raza Siddiqui has been in the UAE for over 15 years and is one of the most renowned names in the healthcare and hospitality sector in the UAE. His expertise spans over 3 decades and is now pursuing his ambition, global niche of premier healthcare and premium hospitality. Let's please welcome Dr. Raza Siddiqui.
Thank you very much, Nia, for inviting me for this
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I hope you're well, and I hope you're as excited as I am for this talk show.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about it, and the topic is very interesting.
Yes, I hope I learn a lot from you, and I look forward to it from both of you. Now next, our second speaker of the day. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Ala Atari. He is the CEO and Managing Director of Emirates Specialty Hospital with more than 20 years of experience in the field of hospital management and healthcare administration. Mr. Atari was previously the CEO of Medcare Hospital and Vice President of Aster DM Healthcare. He has initiated numerous projects for some of the leading hospitals in US and GCC and has been a consultant in the field of operations, management, and radiology applications. Let's welcome Mr. Ala Atari. Thank you, sir, so much for being here. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure to be with you. And it's a topic that it is very close to our heart right now. So we are glad to be here and try to give our information.
And enlighten our dumb knowledge, let's say. So our topic for today's talk show is medical tourism and investment prospects, future potential. The growth of UAE's medical tourism industry has been exceptional, transforming the country into a medical tourism hub of the region. The country has been focusing on increasing its healthcare infrastructure in terms of quality as well as quantity, in line with its global aspirations of medical tourism. The UAE today has entered into a number of prestigious partnerships to bring in advanced healthcare technologies, practices, and standards from the West. So this brings me to the very first question. For medical tourists, one of the main concerns before taking the decision to travel for a treatment is about quality, safety, assurance, which includes accreditation, regulation, malpractice, and overall experience. So bringing these points down, starting with quality, Mr. Ala Atari, in your opinion, how can we ensure quality treatment and how can safety assurance be provided?
Absolutely. Quality is the basis of everything and the main attraction, actually. As probably what you know is a few years ago, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, his initiative is to be #1 in health tourism in the UAE, in the world. As everything else in the UAE, we are #1. The healthcare came a little bit later, but now it is the center of attention, and that's what we should be #1 in the coming years. To be there, you need a lot of factors to fall together. Mainly is quality. Equality usually comes with competition. Right now in Dubai, if we talk about Dubai, the competition is very, very high. And to sustain in such a market, you need to keep your quality to the max. So quality come either by regulations or come within of the organizations. A few years ago when we started, there was no mandation of accreditation. which was self-driven. So basically in our hospital, we decided we need accreditation to differentiate us from other organizations, but that was not mandated by the government. There were 15 years ago, there was no standards to say this is the quality, this is the minimum accepted quality. Then the Dubai Health Authority and other authorities in the UAE came with another standards. So now everybody has to follow. Now the accreditation is mandatory within 2 years of opening any organization. So this is the first factor that helped, that the intervention of the government of making quality is mandated. This is the first part. Now, accreditation is the basic. Now almost everybody in the country has the accreditation. So now the next step is what differentiates hospital from one to another is by keeping higher standards. So competition really drove the quality to a different standard in the UAE. Plus, there is a lot of other players, world-renowned players, like Cleveland Clinic, like John Hopkins, like others who came into the market as well, coming with standards and quality that built over hundreds of years. And now they come into the UAE. So that put also more pressure on the private sector to provide better quality. So now the quality, I think it's one of the best, even though we might not see it, but when you go outside and see other countries, you really feel where we are in terms of quality in the UAE.
Okay, that's interesting. And what about you, Mr. Dr. Siddiqui? What's your opinion on this matter?
I think I will start from an angle which most of the people shy away from.
Okay.
The reality is healthcare industry was considered something like the governments have to provide free or subsidized healthcare to people. But over a period of time, people realized that healthcare is capital and technology intensive. Governments all over the world cannot provide free or subsidized healthcare because what is relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow. So we have to encourage private entrepreneurs to invest into healthcare. And if we encourage private entrepreneurs to invest into healthcare, they have to find it interesting. They have to find it viable. So healthcare, the rule of the game is that it has to be for profit to keep it world class. I cannot say that once upon a time I was world class, today I am not, because I am not making enough profits or I am not running more efficient the way business has to be run, and I am not able to keep pace with the changing technology and times. Now this was shown in US in 60s. In 60s US privatized healthcare and also created accessibility through private insurance. UAE also has done the same. When I came here around 20 years ago, that time the population of UAE was 2.5 million. I'm sure Dr. Ala would have been here that time also. And we have seen the healthcare grow over a period of time. We are some of the lucky people who have seen this. The population has grown from 2.5 million to around 9.5 to 10 million now. Healthcare has transitioned from subsidized or government supported to almost 100% insurance supported in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which is going to happen in Northern Emirates also. Now, if the hospitals have to run for profit as a business, which is the requirement, then we have to see supply demand situation. So if somebody is investing into healthcare, they have two opportunities. One is to cater to the local supply demand situation.
Yeah, of course.
At the same time, explore international opportunities. That is where medical tourism comes into picture. So your subject is very interesting. Now what happens? We have to be able to provide quality healthcare to the local population. It is very important in the context You would have seen this, Dr. Ala, that when we came to UAE, large number of patients were traveling overseas for basic needs, because that time essentially private healthcare system did not exist. Government was providing free or subsidized healthcare. But slowly, when government encouraged private people to invest into healthcare, the trend slowly started changing and reversing now. So people, now coming back to your question of accreditation, if a person is used to international quality healthcare, he is going to US, he is going to Europe, he is going to UK for quality healthcare. If I have to encourage him to stay back in his own country, I have to convince him that the same international standards are available locally. That is why accreditation is important. Now, what is accreditation? Accreditation is that you have to provide services, evidence-based services, which are based on international protocols. Is that right, Dr.
Sure.
Ala? So that's what we have to do. Now we have to invite one external agency to validate what we are doing. Are we in line? Are our outcomes in line with international standards? So today we are sitting here in a very fortunate position. UAE is, I think, the only country in the world where almost every hospital, maybe 90 plus, are accredited by the gold standard accreditation body, which is Joint Commission International. Is that right?
Absolutely.
I think all the hospitals.
It's a mandated, so every hospital has a window of 2 years. They must be accredited. It's not a choice.
Government is making it mandatory now, but I think it is also voluntary, because people who have come here, they are also equally quality conscious, because it is a business challenge. If I have to attract local population and I have to encourage them to use my facility rather than going overseas, then I have to match international quality standards. So in terms of quality standards, UAE has almost all the hospitals accredited by Joint Commission. That's a very big advantage. Now the local population numbers have decreased for the outbound medical tourism. So there are two things: outbound medical tourism and inbound medical tourism. In terms of business opportunity, if we see, we talk about $100 billion US business opportunity as a business in medical tourism. Now, one rule of the game which we have agreed in the beginning of this discussion is healthcare has to be essentially run for profit, because I have to keep pace with the changing technology. So for that I have to make sufficient money. So now we are talking about the local opportunity. At the same time, as Dr. Ala was saying, large number of hospitals have opened, because Dubai, UAE is a land of opportunities. When people see opportunity in one line of business, everybody starts coming there. In the last 5 years, we were talking about how many hospitals have come in the region. They looked at the opportunity. But what happens? We have built the capacity. We are talking of two things. We are talking of catering to the local demand and also encouraging people not to travel outside. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So we also have to at the same time explore the possibility of getting inbound medical tourism. So we have good quality and we have good quality of offerings of healthcare. And also now we are encouraging international patients to come to UAE, which is a big opportunity. That's why the accreditation standards are important.
Absolutely. Now moving on to our next question. In 2018, Dubai welcomed 326,000 plus medical tourists, a 9.5 increase from 2015. My next question is to Dr. Raza Siddiqui. Do you believe that the top players in the UAE healthcare industry should attract more medical tourists? In other words, why are the existing organizations hesitant to invest into this category?
Interesting. We talked about it, and we talked about the fact that we have to encourage people to invest into healthcare for a reasonably good return on investment. Now, the main question, is there opportunity? We have talked about it. There is opportunity of close to $100 billion in this business. Now, we are sitting in a very fortunate place, which is Dubai and UAE. As per DTCM figures, in 2016-17, we had around 15 million tourists coming into UAE. And out of that, if we see 320,000 medical tourists is nothing. It is very, very important. Now I'll come to the data and the business angle of it. If we see international benchmarks, I mean, I have been into medical tourism industry for more than 20 years, and I started medical tourism fortunately for India 20 years ago, and India has become one of the top 5 medical tourism destinations in the world. Now, to answer your question whether 320,000 is good or not so good. So let's talk about international benchmarks. Before unfortunate September 11th incidents in US, close to $10 billion was being spent on healthcare from the people of this region. When you're talking about this region, we are talking about Middle East and Africa. Now, after that, a lot of people from this region were hesitant to go to US. And US also was re-looking at the entire international scenario. They were also not encouraging people in terms of visa from this region. That time, lot of alternative medical tourism destinations came up, like Germany, like UK, like Malaysia, like Thailand, Singapore, and India. So, coming back to your question of 320,000, if you see the international benchmarks, Thailand alone attracts more than 2.5 million medical tourists. India gets close to 6,000 to 7,000 medical tourists every day, which is close to 1.5 million. We have to be realistic. India is one of the oldest medical tourism destinations. India has some of the best institutions of the region, providing real high-end quality healthcare. Thailand has developed a lot. Now, medical tourism has 2 components. One is healthcare, one is hospitality. If we compare with these benchmarks, Dubai, especially in the region, and UAE is rated as A++ in terms of hospitality. Because when somebody is traveling overseas, they not only, of course, healthcare is primary, but person in most of the cases is not traveling alone. Person is traveling with the family because he is anxious, he is not well, he wants somebody around. Now the culture, the safety, the security, the food habits, and the local hospitality standards, everything is so important for him. So we are in a very fortunate situation in this country. This country is rated A++. In terms of healthcare, we have evolved. As we discussed, we have almost all the hospitals accredited by Joint Commission. We are only getting close to 1,000 patients a day. India is getting 6,000 patients a day. Thailand is getting huge number of patients. So we have a great business opportunity here. This country is typically considered by outsiders as oil economy. But in recent years, the tourism industry has developed a lot. We have more than 100,000 hotel rooms in Dubai alone. and we are, I think DTCM figures are, I'm coming to the business angle of this. According to DTCM, close to $15 billion is the direct revenue of hotels from 15 million tourists. Very simple calculation. DTCM figures are that average room revenue is around 600 to 700 dirhams. And Mr. Ala will agree with me, the revenue, we are talking of business, the revenue of a hospital bed is not less than 4,000 to 5,000.
Depends on the hospital. It could reach 15, 20.
Yes. Per night.
Per night, absolutely.
We're talking about. A medical tourist spends minimum $5,000 on medical treatment alone. Hospitality part is separate. The family comes and stays in the hotel, goes for shopping because they have nothing else to do. They spend equal amount of money. So what we are talking about is, if we are getting around 50,000 tourists into Dubai and getting only 1,000 medical tourists, we see a great opportunity. I'll give you another example. Dubai airport is one of the most busy airports. We have around 40 to 50 million passengers transiting from Dubai airport. Every day, which is very important, every day more than 3,000 to 4,000 medical tourists are changing flight from Dubai airport to go to places like India, Thailand and Malaysia.
Absolutely.
So there is a great opportunity, and in terms of business, we were talking about in this discussion the capacity available with the hospitals in Dubai is still there. So if we are able to attract these patients who are traveling to other destinations, there is a huge opportunity.
So how exactly do we attract these people? Like, what is that way of advertising these medical services? Because I'm trying to think of from their perspective, why would they come to Dubai? Like, yes, of course, Dubai has all these services. Like, you know, I feel like people have an image of what Dubai is like. Why not come to Dubai? But how do you attract them?
Sure.
You know?
Actually, to go back to the number, the 350,000, I'll come back to it because there is not the real number. A few years ago, when the whole initiative started of health tourism, we, with the cooperation with the DHA, we made a club, if you want to call it a club, an association with most of the private hospitals, let's say in Dubai, to see how we can take the initiatives to be number one in the world and how to start it. It was there. It was always existent, the health tourism from a long time ago, but it was fragmented, every hospital doing whatever they want. So we had a meeting to see what to do, how we can approach it. So we visited many countries and to see how they're doing it and why India, why Thailand, why UK. We went to UK, we went to Moscow, we went to Thailand, we went to India to see how can we start. First of all, we said we have to align with all government sectors. We cannot play alone. For example, I cannot attract, I might have the best medical facilities and the best quality of doctors. But if the hotels are so expensive and the tickets are more expensive and the visas are hard to get, so our efforts is gone. So we met with all agencies, with all government, and we said, okay, Emirates Airline, they chipped in and they said, we will help. Visa, immigration, they said, okay, we are into this. And so the hospitality industry, they also was part of this. So we all aligned into one aim. It's to have the health tourism and to be Dubai or the UAE is number one in the world. So this is the first thing that everybody has to think the same. If you go to Thailand from the airport, you talk medical. From the airport, most of the hospitals are looking to they have booth in the airport. So from there starts the journey. In their flights, there is advertisement to see how we can and where to go. All hospitals, from door to door, they pick you up from the hospital from the airport back to the airport. So we learned a lot of these things, and we start to, but not. You cannot see one size fits all. So now we take these ideas, we brought it here, and we start doing, okay, how we can do it. So we started to go. The best thing we've done is we didn't think of Emirates Hospital or Medcare Hospital or American Hospital City. It was Dubai. So when we all went to health tourism exhibition outside the country, we went representing Dubai, because we all at this stage, we all complement each other. No hospital is 100% can cover all services. So when we became one identity, and then it was easier for Dubai Health Authority to advertise Dubai. And from there, everybody benefited. Now to go to the number, one of the challenges was, who is the tourist? How do you identify that your patient is a tourist? It's very difficult. We are all coming outside the country. So we try to see what is the mechanism to count these numbers. So the easiest one was, if somebody comes to the hospital with residency, that does not consider tourist. Anyone comes with a visa, that's considered tourist. But not everybody in a visa is coming from outside the country for health tourism. So really the number doesn't really tell the real story. We are much more than this number. But the reporting mechanism, it's not defined yet to see who is the true health tourism. If you want to say, a patient who fly from their country directly to the hospital to get some treatment, that's a health tourism. But we have a lot of tourists, as I said, 15 million. The 15 million, how many of them are getting converted while they're staying to get medical treatment? We get these every single day, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 patients every single day. But they are not health tourism per se that are coming for treatment. They are tourists who became ill, who used our services, which is okay, because for people to trust you, they have to try. So now they are coming here as tourists. They get ill for any reason. Now they use our system. Now they're happy with our system. And we saw it in many situations where the patient has requested other people to come back from their country and to use our system. So it takes a while. But as this number, Dr. Raza said, this is the first time I hear it, that we have 1,000 and India 7,000. If this is the reality, and this is not the true numbers, we are doing very good. India been a long way ahead of us in this, and to reach 1,000 compared to India, this is a very good start for us. So it is working. And again, I'm saying these numbers are not the true numbers. Now, there are some limiting factors to where we can be, but the limiting factor could be a plus for us. For example, who will come to UAE to avail our services? In the UAE, there are some areas I don't say we don't have, but we cannot stand out in the world as services. For example, cancer treatment. We are not the best. We cannot be claiming this is the best, which is not bad. I mean, it's a new services, so we are okay with that. Cardiology, invasive cardiology, we are not also the top of the world in that. So no one will travel outside the country to come to UAE to avail any cancer treatment or invasive cardiology treatment. We are not there. So that's why people go to India, go to Thailand. And so it's okay. Then we have to find what we are good at and then explore that. Right now, mainly the services in the UAE, it's cosmetic. Cosmetic UAE is thriving right now, becoming the number one, because a lot of people wants to come here. Anyway, in cosmetology in general, people like to do surgeries or any treatment outside the country because they don't want anybody to know. And this is the old thinking. Now people don't care because everybody's doing it. But before, people wants to go on a vacation, do whatever they want, and then come back and then nothing happened. And this is where UAE really excelled in this. obesity services, also one of the high number in the UAE. If you go also to orthopedic, we have excellent doctors in orthopedic. I'm not saying the other facility we don't have, but very few people will travel for example, urology or ENT. People will travel for the bigger things. We attract right now. See, we can start attracting people who is coming from Europe, but there's enough in the GCC to attract. So if we start with the GCC, if Dubai be the hub for GCC healthcare, then we are doing very good. Yeah. Now we move, and now we'll try to convert things from India, convert from Thailand, convert from Europe. Europe now is, and Russia. Now the market is huge, but to concentrate on that. And another very valid point is to stop people from leaving the country. The locals, the local population to go outside. It's not the local, I mean Emirates, all of us. Because for us, all of us always looking to go back home. And if there is a big treatment, to be between the family. And that also has to change because also the work habits, it does not allow you to do that. So basically, if I want to have any big surgery and stay home 2 to 3 months, it is difficult in this market because work limitation. So you have to go back, you might lose your job. So there is consequences if you leave the country for a long period. So how can we make it better home to make this area home? You know, we have to make Dubai or the UAE home so people can get the treatment here. So there is a lot of factors, but a huge opportunity. And I think we are in the right direction. You cannot do it too fast because people see, you can advertise a lot. Thailand, for example, they picked one thing that they are the best in the world: health checkup, just simple health checkup. To the point I decided to go try it. Why? What do they have that we don't have? So I went and I tried it. So the best way to learn is by trying, by being the patient. So I went there. It's simple. It's very simple. The equipments they have, we have better. The doctor they use, we have excellent doctors. So the whole components we have and better. But the system we didn't have. The system, it is amazing, really, the way they start from start to end. But I cannot do it in our hospital because what's my number? 4, 5, 3 a day. They do 250 patients per day in one hospital. And they will know about it. The whole world go there. It's a full system. So that's what we need to learn. The numbers increase, our system gets better. Then things will roll. So it takes a little bit of time, but we are definitely on the right direction. And what we've done in the last, I would say the health tourism topic or the health tourism initiative, it's only 5-6 years as organized. It's been going on for many years, but as organized, supported by the DHA and the government, it has only for 5 years. So to reach this point, and I'm telling you, if every hospital or every organization reported correctly, we will reach much more than this number.
Brilliant. That's very insightful. Thank you so much for that.